Hello and welcome to another episode of Marty's Matchbox Makeovers. Glad to have you here. Now, the other day I went out and I bought some groceries. Groceries is quite an old term, but it's a term that I use from time to time. And whilst I was buying my groceries, I noticed in the grocery shop, which was Coles, that they're selling Matchbox cars. Can you believe it? In the supermarket, no less. And I'm going to have a look at it now. Just before we start this video, I thought I'd have a look at this new type of Matchbox with moving parts. And, well, should be interesting. First thing I notice is it's made from recycled metal. And it boasts moving parts. Now, Matchbox, when they first came out, they didn't really have many moving parts, and then they did, and then they didn't, and now they have again. So this is a 2023 Nissan Ariya, built by Mattel. Plastic-free packaging, that's good. I'll open this up and have a look. Wow, looks like a really beautiful little model. Lovely green. It's in this like polystyrene type. Oh, there you go. Push on the wheels. Okay, so quite a nice looking car. So it's got moving parts. Well, obviously the wheels are moving. Underneath, what have we got underneath? It says here Matchbox Mattel 2023 and all sorts of writing on that. Matchbox 1382, that's probably the number, and it's made in Thailand, and it has 2 rivets. So having a look at the details on the side here, we've got front and rear door, wing mirrors. Nice Nissen badge on the front, decal. Very, very slim headlights. I wonder if this is a hybrid vehicle. What is that? Is that a charging point? Probably. Okay, the moving part is, I believe, the bonnet. Is it the bonnet? Oh, got it. Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that. There is a motor engine in there. Inside you can see a gearbox, 2 seats. The steering wheel is left-hand drive. And there's like a kind of a, I don't know if it's a screen. I think it's like a monitor. You know how modern cars have monitors? Quite a nice toy, really. I think anyone would like that. So that is Matchbox today. So anyway, moving on to today's makeover. And today I should be doing a makeover on this No.46c, a classic Mercedes Benz 300 SE from the 60s. And this one was made, this model came out in 1968. So it's showing its age, as you can see. The paint isn't the best. There's a few chips and scratches on it. The doors won't close. Try as I might, they keep springing open. And the windscreen has been scratched up. Maybe someone had a cat, and the cat liked to play with it when they weren't around. Who knows? Anyway, this is going to take a little while to do, so I shall have to get into it. This will be the second one of these that I've done. The first one was a lovely gloss green colour. I didn't realise until I was halfway through the build, and then I remembered something sparked my memory, and I went into my study and found the green one in the display case and said, never mind, this is a variant of the No.46c that I don't have in this colour, so I'm going to go ahead with it anyway. Some nice features. As I said before, the Matchbox models now are moving towards moving parts. Well, these came out a long time ago, and these had many moving parts on them, including the doors and the boot. I'm going to try and get away without using a screw to replace the base on this one, just in case someone's watching and they don't have the means to do that and they were looking for an alternative. So all I'm going to do is just try and drill out the bare minimum on these rivets underneath and pry the base off, and hopefully I'll be able to snap it back on and glue it. I don't ordinarily use glue. I don't like using glue, but for something different, I thought I would snap this base back on and try to glue it back into place to show people that there are other ways of doing things. So I've taken off just enough metal there to enable me to lever the base off very gently without distorting or damaging anything. The front came off easier than the back. Not many bits to this, but it does have suspension. Unfortunately, this suspension is broken. Somebody must have been playing sort of off-road racing in the sandpit and got a little bit carried away. So I'm hoping I've got a spare one of those kicking around. The interior is very clean, very new looking, and I notice it's another one of these ones where, to speed things up in the factory, instead of constructing the interior in two pieces, i.e. the dash and the seats, somebody came up with the masterful plan of injecting the dashboard, steering wheel and seats all in one, and having the ability to fold it up on the production line there to snap it in position to fit back in the car. Probably sped things up rather than trying to put in a fiddly steering wheel into a hole or something. Great idea, Matchbox. This might be the culprit for the doors not closing, not too sure. It's the spring that acts on the hinge points of the doors, makes them flick open and flick shut. I was just looking at the doors here after I pulled them off. There's a lot of detail in there that would probably go unnoticed for the majority of owners. There's armrest, a mat box, door handle, window winder perhaps. Very small. Interestingly, look, one of these doors is marked number 6 and the other one is marked number 4. I wonder what happened to number 5. And yes, I did check the boot and there's no number on it. That's a bit weird. Anyway, I just wondered how accurately Matchbox had made the interior of these doors, so I downloaded a picture off the internet of a genuine Mercedes for comparison. Now here you can see how much effort they went to, although the internal material on the door with the diagonal pattern, I was unable to find, having looked at hundreds of pictures, I was unable to find any interior that matched with the door trim with the 2 circles on it. If anyone knows what the 2 circles were, let me know, please. So I was going to I've taken the doors off. I was going to take the boot off, but I can't because I've just noticed it's like trapped underneath a part of Perspex there, part of the windscreen. So I've got to take the windscreen out first. Now, for those of you who haven't been watching for very long, here I'm showing you a shallow cut drill that I've modified so I don't drill through the roof of cars when I'm trying to take out a small amount of plastic, take the window out. Sometimes you have to pop it out with your finger pressure like that. It's a bit touch and go. I have cracked 1 or 2 in the past trying to do that. Today I got away with it. So there's that tab on the back that holds the boot hinge in. Having a look here, it's got number 46 on it. So if you find one, you know what model it's for, and the arrow points to the front. So you don't, if you're working on the assembly line, you don't even have to think. Just pick it up, look at it and put it in. They must have produced millions of these. I don't know exactly how many, but quite often models were produced by the million. So even though I've taken the windscreen out, the boot is still rather stubborn to remove. It's kind of hooked over a little metal hinge point there. And it was not as plain sailing as I thought. Didn't exactly drop out. I had to force it out using that thin flat blade screwdriver. Thankfully it didn't break. Hopefully I can put it back together without breaking it too. Now, looking at this colour, I am reminded of the ISO Griffo that I did the other week. If you haven't seen it, please look it up. It's a beautiful model. And I used this SMS Pearl Electric Blue, but I'm running a little bit low. I do notice, however, that the Mercedes is slightly lighter, so I'm hoping, just hoping beyond hope, I can, with the limited amount of paint I've got here, I can mix up the Pearl Electric Blue with a bit of the Super Silver and make this lighter blue colour. Not sure I can. I've never really, I mean the SMS paints, they're great, but I've never actually experimented with blending them together. So this is a first, I believe, for me, and I'm a little bit anxious in case I stuff it up. But I guess I can't paint it until I've got the old paint off, so that's the next thing. Paint comes off extremely easily on this model. Don't know whether it's because it's metallic, it reacts. There's more kind of reaction to the paint stripper or not, but it just seems to go funny, sort of a blistery pattern on it. And literally falls off when you scrub it. So it doesn't really fall off, but you do scrub it and it falls off. So after I've rinsed it all off in the sink and brought it back to the bench, I can now have another closer look at it. Sometimes you see damage, casting marks, details that possibly you didn't notice when it had paint on. It's not too bad, this one. Missed a bit on the front there, strange. So I do actually put a little bit on with the paintbrush and get that off. I'm not going to undercoat this vehicle. I'm going to try something. I might have done it before, I'm not sure. Just polishing it up with some wire wool and try and get it nice and shiny all over without too much scuffing, you know, that's going to show through the paint. Takes a little while, a bit of buffing up with the steel wire wool. I've got to a point where I think I might be able to get away with this if I spray some paint on that, especially this metallic, which is slightly transparent. So here I go, I'm going to mix the paint. You can see just how little of that blue I've got left. Maybe only used it twice, can't really remember. I don't even remember using the SMS paints, to tell you the truth. Not very often anyway. But even that silver's gone down, so I must have used it for something. Anyway, it's very, very watery, and it came out pretty quick. And I'm looking at it, and it kind of doesn't sort of mix particularly well. It looks like they're two different densities, the silver and the blue. And I don't think I've got enough to paint the car, so I just add another splash of silver in there. And it looks good in the pot, but when I take it out on the paddle pop stick there, the lolly stick, looks a little bit sort of on the light colour. Might be too light perhaps, so I've got to cross my fingers and I'm just hoping it's going to work. This is all the paint I've got. What you see in that pot is all I've got. And so I'm doing the big bit first, and I'm hoping I've just got enough to scrape together to do the boot and the doors. Thing is, unbeknownst to me, at this stage, I'm going to have to give it a couple of coats at least, because looking at this, it's more silver than blue. It's very, very light indeed, and I don't think it's close enough to the original colour. So I end up giving it a couple of coats, and to try and make the paint covering look a little bit sort of deeper, I'm going to cover it with some gloss varnish, again from the SMS range. And I'll show you what it turned out like very soon. Just set it aside to dry, and I'm concentrating on just giving the interior, even though it looks very, very clean and immaculate, I still gave it a bit of a wash there with a soft brush and some washing up liquid. There's a couple of little bits of plastic moulding that have not been removed in the factory. I just cut those off because they're annoying me. Trying to make it as best as I can. That looks a little bit better. Here's that suspension plastic plate. I do have a box here. It used to be full. I'm running on fumes now. I don't even know what that spring's for. There's also some red beacons in there, strangely enough. Now this was a good thing. I found one, I actually found two. This may have been an interchangeable part because I've got two of these and they look identical. One there in the plastic bag. Maybe I've ordered these from Recovered Toy in the past. Can't recall, I just know I had a box there with suspension on it and I hadn't looked in it for a number of years. And this is what I found when I opened it up. So it's good. The one on the right looks like it's been heated up. So that might have been a failed project. I can't honestly remember. Here I'm starting to assemble the parts with a view to reassembling it. And I've remembered the clear windscreen piece there of plastic. And I bought some Polywatch. Somebody has been recommending Polywatch to me for years. And I kept persevering with the metal polish because it seemed to work. But finally I thought, you know what? Maybe I should give it a go. So I bought myself, I thought it was a large tube of Polywatch. Looked big in the ad. And when I got it, I thought, oh, who's sending me this cigarette in the mail? And I opened it up and it was the Polywatch. But the good news is a little bit goes a long way. So one little teardrop blob is all you need for front side and back. So 3 blobs and it comes up pretty good. So the icing on the cake for me is always the self-shining floor polish. Many of you may have seen me do this before, some of you haven't. What I do for the people that haven't seen me do it, what I do is I dunk the transparency into the self-shining floor polish. Then I place it on some paper towel so that the excess can run off and not pool and create a creamy white residue. As you can see, there's some on that window there. So the idea is you sit it there and gravity pulls it down and it disappears into the tissue paper. And when you take it out, the windscreen looks brand new or close to it. So here's all the parts ready to be put back together. The blue doesn't look too bad, not exactly what I was aiming for, but it is acceptable. Let's put it that way. The first thing is, I thought, was to put the windscreen back in. I just do what I usually do, a little blob of some clear silicone over the rivet or around the rivet in the roof, and then I remembered that the boot is held in by the windscreen. So this was awkward, and I thought it was going to break something here, but all of a sudden it sort of yields and finds its own space. Now I can put the windscreen in, and that tab is now over the rear hinge for the boot. And I just seat that down over that rivet and squish the silicone out underneath so that it can hold it to the roof. My theory being that in the future someone can take off the windscreen relatively easily if it needs to be repainted. This spring I shone up and I painted it with some clear blue to make it look like it was the sprung steel in the original, but it didn't look as good as I was hoping. The blue I'm talking about is what you'd use on a police beacon if you were doing a police or fire chief's car. You know, it's a transparent sort of see-through blue. Putting these doors in was fiddly also. You have to kind of force the spring away from the door hinge and then make a space to get the top pin on the door to engage with a slot in the body, all without breaking anything, or the spring flying out or squeezing on the windscreen and cracking it. But hey, check that out, that actually shut good and looks like it's going to stay shut too. Same on the other side. I'm happy with that. Believe it or not, the first time I'm trying this suspension, I was that confident it was going to fit, and it did. Just have to make sure I put the steering wheel at the front and not at the back. Now I've just got to put the base on. Now see these rivets? I'm not going to drill and tap and put some screws in today. I'm going to try something I've tried before, just to show you something different. A little bit of araldite. The 5-minute one, you mix it in 2 parts, equal parts of each product. Just drizzle it around the outside of the rivet, because you don't want it squeegeeing out on the base, because then it will be seen and you might touch it, and then you might touch the side of the car, which would be catastrophic, because you'd have to pull it apart, strip it again to make the paint look good. So 2 little blobs. I didn't realize you have to feed this base on from the front. You have to put the headlights and the grille into the body first and then fold the back down. So it took me a while to work that one out. Now push hard and ensure you don't get any araldite on your thumbs. Now placing it down like that, the base is now up the right way, and the araldite in theory should overnight migrate down and bond the rivet end to the base, which it's done. And then I just saved a tiny little bit of the dregs of the paint just to touch up the old rivets that were drilled out to make it look as new as possible. Guess what? Whilst I'm doing this and concentrating hard, a visitor came in to visit me. Tilly, my other cat. We got Smudge, the grey one, and this is Tilly. And she doesn't come in here very often, but today she did. Having a bit of a look around, so I had to pause until she left, otherwise she might have started to interfere with the model, flick it on the floor. You know what cats are like. You've seen all the videos on YouTube of them pushing stuff onto the floor. Well, that's why she's really not allowed in there. So some highlights with the chrome paint, and here for comparison is the green one that I did before. And I'll leave a link to the video. Kevin features in that one, I believe. If you're a Kevin fan and you haven't seen it, I suggest you take a look. So this is what we started with, and remember those doors, they would not stay shut. Now look, airtight, well, watertight at least. You wouldn't want a car that's airtight, because if you're on a long trip you might pass out and crash, which would not be good. So this was my attempt at the makeover of the number 46c Mercedes Benz, and it's not perfect, they never are, but I think it looks a darn sight better than it did. And I'm very pleased to have this addition to my collection of models that I've done up. This is a new one that I haven't done up, and should be going in the cabinet shortly. But this is so good and turned out so well, we thought we would put it into a car show. So we went along to the local show and shine, and I parked it up, and Kevin came with me. He hadn't been out for about 3 months. He's been away. He's back now, and we went out to the show and shine together. He nicked off to get a hot dog and left me with the car. Now I went to look for him and I can't find my car now, and I can't find Kevin either. So I put the drone up, and here you can see the show and shine display, and if you can help me find my car, that would be great. And even better if you can help me find Kevin. So if you spot Kevin and the car, please in a comment leave the grid reference, and midweek next week I'm going to do a giveaway. And if you've got the grid reference right, if you found Kevin and you found the car, you will be in the running for the prize. I haven't decided what the prize is yet, but it will be something good. So have a go at that, pause the video and see if you can find Kevin in the car. And thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Marty's Matchbox Makeovers. And if you have, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget, recommend to your friends. This is Marty from Marty's Matchbox Makeovers saying goodbye and thanks for watching.